Hi, I'm Philipp Hartenfeller, product lead at United Codes, and I'm proud to present one of the main new features of Apex Project I version 24.3, and it's called Scorecard. And this basically lets you get insight into the complexity of your apps. So let's get started. So I'm on the main dashboard of APE, and here first you need to configure your projects before you can use the feature. Projects is basically a way to map applications to a project, so they're grouped. And if you've done that, we can go to Scorecard here. And first let's go to applications. And this is already like an overview grouped by your projects and the apps inside them. And you can already see we have some total score here, a complexity or size score. So we have a lot of apps going on here. I'm just going to create an add filter. So we're going to take a look at this specific one, our plugins for community plugins app, where we have all our plugins grouped. And you can see here we have this score of 1,200. We have like total pages. We have like used pages. So we're also looking at the metadata to see like the activity on your apps. And as this is a dev environment, our devs haven't spent a lot of time on the whole app. So in the last few days, only 5 pages were used. But you can then like see in production with real data that you actually, the pages you use have like a way lower score and that you maybe need to clean up or rethink some of your pages. So we already see like pages with JavaScript, application items, and some info. If you miss something on your end, you need to enable them in the column selection. Now let's dig a little bit deeper. So we're going to open this dashboard for this app. And on the top, we can see here is like a list of page groups. So we have 7 basic, very minimal pages. Then simple are a little bit more complex and bigger, moderate, advanced, complex. And at last we have monsters. Luckily we don't have any monster page in this app, but one very complex, for example. Down below here, we can then like inspect our pages. And what you can see here, it's a bubble chart. So on the y-axis, we have a complexity score. So the more complex, the more on the top of this chart the bubbles are. And on the x-axis here, we have the size score. So we differentiate between actually complexity and size. And this is a very important distinction because like it may make sense to develop a big size, like complexity or something, or like size is not bad per se. So if you have like a power app where your users get a lot of work done and they see a lot of data at the same time and mangle around with it, and you have a lot of actions, etc., then it may make sense to build a big app. This just gives you insight about it. It's not bad per se. But yeah, the difference between size is like a lot of regions, where in complexity is like, yeah, you have like a lot of custom JavaScript. The queries for the reports are very big, etc. So that's the distinction between them. So generally on the lower left corner at the chart are your easy to maintain pages. At the top right are the ones that could cause issues. So let's take a look at this one here. So this is a simple page. We can click on the bubble, and what we can see here is now a page overview chart, or just a page overview. And we see some details, our gauge to see the score of it. And on the right side, we see some criteria. So we have, this is the basic size score, and it's computed by like, we have like one process on it. So it's just 1.5 scores, and you can actually change the weights on that. More on that later. And we also have a plugin on the page. So that's also adding complexity. So we have UC download file on this page. Both these add up to 2, 1.5 plus 1. So it's rounded here. You can also directly go to the APE page dashboard. We're going to take a look at this later too. But now let's look at the other end. So we, for example, this UC nested reports page is rather big, but also very complex. So if we go here, we can see a lot more information. So again, like this page size score, we have like 19 columns. That's some complexity, 7 dynamic actions, 26 regions. So that's why we end up with 51. And then we actually add more complexity points. For example, we have 205 lines of PL SQL code on the page. You can inspect that here. And this is like added complexity. We also like count these S lines. Complex regions is like, it has a very big source query. Using Apex collection adds complexity. Let's take a look at how we could even configure how this is calculated. We have on the main page here, we have this configuration section. And here are all the weights basically. Let's scroll to, for example, CSS lines. So if you have CSS lines on the page, like 0 to 20, it's fine. It's 0 per default. It's no complexity score, but like 20 to 50 lines, adds 1. And yeah, then upper bound more. And you can fine tune that for your taste. If you actually like to use a lot of custom CSS and think for our case, this is not as much complexity, you are free to change the scoring. Also like in general, like dynamic actions, like the general weight of one dynamic action, this is per default 1.25, so you could also change that if you like. Another thing we added is this cost calculator feature here. And this is rather niche, so this will help you basically calculate the cost of development and maintaining your app. So for example, you have to select a project, so let's use pip. You can set an hourly rate for your internal or external developers. And then it's going to look at the pages that it's scanned. You can see like we have like 15 basic pages, 35 simple pages, etc. And then also it scans like the amount of applications, we have 4, and just adds a fixed project cost. So then if you want to like extend some of your apps or do a project on them, you can say, okay, I estimate that I have a fixed project cost like maintaining hours, etc. of 10 hours. Then we have a few development steps, and these are on the on the basic pages. So let's say on the smaller ones, let's say 10 hours here. Simple, nothing, advanced, it's in 15 hours, and on the complex one, 20 hours, and just another additional fixed per app, like for shared components, etc. Then in the end, we give you like an estimation of how much this actually costs to do the project. We give like a total, but also an optimistic and pessimistic calculation, so you can get some pricing overview. This feature is also like dig into your normal workflow of APE. So for example, we are now in the workspace dashboard for the pip workspace. And if I go to the app, the community app, we just inspect it. We can then, like here, we can see context menu. If I go to the page dashboard, you can see on the right side here, the score is also shown here. And we can open also the modal to get the details of the complexity calculation. Last but not least, a few nice Easter eggs. So we also calculated the complexity of the Oracle Apex app builder itself. So the internal app where you have your page design, etc. This has a very high complexity score of 18,000. And if we go into the chart, you can see this is how it looks with a lot of stuff going on. And funnily, like the page designer is not the most complex page, it's page definition. I'm actually not sure like what the page definition page is, but it has like 31 complex regions. Yeah, so basically custom PL SQL regions, and with like loops with sys-HTTP, that's hard to maintain. And like the page designer, for example, it's still very complex. So it has like 54 regions, 19 processes, 34 buttons, and I guess a lot of JavaScript. I don't know, because it's probably like hidden away in static application files. So that's why. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that you can make use of this feature. If you have any feedback, any ideas for this, please let us know. Rather, you can contact us or just write into the comments. But thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully see you in the next video. Bye bye.